I was somehow lucky enough to receive an invitation to the Dawntrail media tour, where I was given the opportunity to test out the level 100 iterations of all 21 of the game's jobs. In order to make sure you can get all the information you want quickly, I've sectioned each of my media tour videos into 3 sections. Firstly comes the changes and additions, including tooltips. Then I will talk more in depth on how I feel about the jobs. It's here that I'll talk about the various little bits and pieces that I tested, how this will shift their playstyle, and give you a bit of a primer of exactly what to expect going into the next expansion. Lastly, at the end of the video, I will have a full list of the jobs tooltips from the media tour build, including traits. Do please bear in mind that what I played was a development build, and it's totally subject to change, especially potencies, so don't take this as a final product, but it can be very useful to see intention and direction from the developers. Additionally, I had very limited time to test everything, and our play session was at like 400 ping due to needing to route the server access through North America, then all the way to Japan. So what you're going to be seeing from me is definitely not peak gameplay. My apologies, I did the best I could with what we had access to. Viper feels like the fastest job in the game on the whole, honestly, but at its core, it's very simple. It has what genuinely feels like somewhat of an auto combo system for your basic attacks, and a fantastic level of freedom in terms of both when you execute your burst attacks and when you disengage from the enemy. Its burst window is Reaper but better, and whilst I found it difficult to get a proper read on the job as a whole because I was at 400 ping on a fast GCD job, I still very much enjoyed the time I had with it. Rather than starting with the job gauge, let's discuss the basic combo that enables it first. Viper's basic rotation revolves around the upkeep of 3 buffs and debuffs: Noxious Gnash, Hunter's Instinct, and Swift Scaled. These increase your damage dealt and reduce your weapon skill recast time, as well as increasing the amount of damage received by the enemy. Viper's combo system operates slightly differently than many in Final Fantasy XIV, in that you can interchangeably swap between combos partway through depending on what you need to do without any hassle at all. You start off your combo with either Steel Fangs or Dread Fangs. Dread Fangs is weaker but applies a 10% damage taken up to your foe. Steel Fangs is stronger. Then you can move on to either second hit from your starting point, going to Hunter's Sting or Swift Skin's Sting. Hunter's Sting gives you another 10% damage up, and Swift Skin's Sting provides you a 15% speed boost essentially. Then each of these second hits can combo into 2 unique finishers for a total of 4. Flank Sting Strike, Flank's Bane Fang, Hind Sting Strike, and Hind's Bane Fang all deal an equal amount of damage, and they all have a positional requirement as signified in their name. Doing one of these third hits will provide you with a buff that makes a different third hit enhanced in your next combo, and that will dictate the direction you take in your next basic combo. As soon as you've done your third hit in your combo, you will get an OGCD called Death Rattle that you need to use or lose, as in if you don't press it by the time you get your next GCD, it's gone. You have 3 dedicated buttons for off-global procs on Viper, and this one is on Serpent's Tail. Completing this combo will give you 10 gauge, which I'll touch on a little more later. What's crazy about this is that these entire 8 potential combo GCDs are on 2 buttons. If this sounds overwhelming, it's not too bad because you have Viper Sight to help you track it. These combos, like I mentioned, are condensed all the way to just 2 buttons on your GCDs, and the Viper Sight gauge will allow you to track which combo action you should be taking next of the 2 potential hittable GCDs, and this helps keep things really simple and obvious. There's also an AoE version of this that works in much the same way, using these weapon skills instead, and finishing off with Last Lash. The same logic applies here. You also have your Dreadwinder combo, which I'm going to affectionately refer to as your rat combo from now on. You see on the bottom half of the Twin Blade job gauge there are spaces for 3 red gems. Well, every time you complete a Dreadwinder combo, you get 1 gem. But more importantly, why is it called the rat combo? Well, reason number 1, funny, but reason number 2 is because these gems are called Rattling Coil. Dreadwinder is a 40-second cooldown, and you can stockpile up to 2 charges of it. After you use Dreadwinder, you gain access to Swift Skin's Coil and Hunter's Coil. These each have a positional requirement, and in practice they act pretty similarly to Gallows and Gibbet on Reaper. They combo off of one another, and you end up doing both of them one after another after a Dreadwinder. But after each of these 2 hits, you have 2 OGCD attacks to press: Twin Blood Bite and Twin Fang Bite. on the other 2 of those dedicated OGCD buttons that I mentioned before. So this combo is fast because you're going to do your Dreadwinder into 1 coil GCD, then 2 OGCDs, then the other coil GCD, and then you're going to instantly finish up again with the 2 OGCDs once more, but this time in the reverse order. There is also an AoE rat combo, and just like before, the exact same logic applies as with its single target offerings. You can then spend those rattling coils on Uncoiled Fury. This is the ranged combo that you saw at the start of the Dawntrail job action trailer, and it hits for 500 potency on the GCD. When you use Uncoiled Fury, it will proc Uncoiled Twin Fang and Uncoiled Twin Blood off of your dedicated OGCD buttons, and you need to use them right away or they'll be gone with the wind. Serpent's Ire, a 2-minute cooldown, can be used to instantly generate a rattling coil at will, and it also provides the Ready to Reawaken buff, which is a free entry into the 4th and final component of Viper's main rotation. There was a second part of the Viper gauge that I've not mentioned yet, the Serpent's Ire gauge. This one you build by doing your basic combos, and spending 50 of this gauge, or using that button I just mentioned a moment ago, will allow you to Reawaken. Reawaken is your burst phase. Activating the button alone deals 600 potency, and after that you'll be able to do a rapid multi-hit combo, weaving OGCDs in between in much the style of Machinist and Reaper's bursts. This one is a little different though, because each of the 5 GCDs are on different buttons entirely, replacing many of your basic attacks. You use Serpent's Tail, one of your dedicated OGCD buttons, to handle all of the intermediary hits. So you're going to cycle through 1st generation all the way to 4th generation rapidly, weaving numbered legacy hits alongside them, and then you finish up with Ouroboros, a 1000 potency AoE hit. You also have Writhing Snap, a ranged GCD attack, and Slither, a 30-second gap closer that can store up to 3 charges. Slither is actually extremely similar to Monk's Thunderclap in that you can use it to dash to enemies or allies alike, making it incredibly multifaceted. As they're a melee DPS, they also share all of the role actions that other melee do, including the newly enhanced Second Wind and Feint. So how did I feel about Viper on the whole? I liked it, mostly. It didn't wow me in the same way that Pictomancer did, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the auto combo system. Honestly, I need more time with the job to form a fully concrete opinion about that. But what I did love is how fast paced it is. The constant weaves that you can't hold on to, you need to get them off immediately or lose them entirely. They come together to help make Viper feel incredibly active despite not having too many buttons on the whole. If I remember rightly, the job has 19 buttons aside from role actions, and that's AoE as well. The Reawakening is fantastic as well. It's engaging, and I'm endlessly glad that it has a unique twist on the fast GCD burst gimmick that an increasing number of FF14 jobs are being represented with. I feel like in practice Viper is going to be a pretty easy job to play on the whole, honestly, but I found myself getting overwhelmed reading the tooltips because they were just so wordy, so it actually took me a while to figure out what I should be doing. Let me know what you think of Viper, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.